This video is sponsored by Frontline Model Hobbies, your one-stop website for all your modelling needs. Check out the store for special offers, pre-orders and also aftermarket accessories. Check out their website. A big thank you to Frontline Model Hobbies. Hello and welcome to part 1 of Special Hobbies or ICM's AH-1G Cobra. Now, before I get into the nuts and bolts of the kit, let me explain to you why I'm actually building this kit. Now, this kit is two of two. The first one being the AH-6 Alpha, better known as the Loach. That was built first, and this is obviously being built second. Now, these particular helicopters were used hand in hand and in effective teams within the Vietnam War as hunter-killer teams. The hunters being the AH-6 and the killers being the Cobras. Now, this particular Cobra was armed with one M134 minigun, a 40mm grenade launcher, and 2.75 rockets. Now, the rockets could either be Willy Pete's, as in white phosphorus, flechette, or high explosives. The hunter-killer teams were the thorn in the side of every NVA soldier and Viet Cong. They would swoop down from 1500 feet once the actual target was marked by the AH-6 and rain absolute destruction down onto the enemy. Now, with the two books that I'm reading, one being The Low-Level Hell by Hugh L. Mills Jr., which basically concentrates more onto the AH-6. However, it does go quite a bit into the work that the Cobras did. But the other one that I'm reading, which is primarily the Cobras, is called It Was My Turn. And it's written by Gerald Barron, and it is about the pilot called Terry Crump, who is one of Vietnam's most decorated pilots in America's secret war. I do urge you to read it. They are two very, very good books. Right then, on with the kit. Now, as I said, this is ICM's main plastic kit, but this is actually Special Hobbies, and it does come with a plethora of different medias. Plastic being obviously the one. Then you have cast resin, 3D printed parts, and photo etch. The casting actually on the resin parts and the 3D resin printed parts is astonishing. It really is a fantastic work, and it was done by CMK. And it also does come with other bits and pieces, namely pilots' helmets, which again are very nicely cast, and photo etch to actually go with them. So to start off with, I started priming it with a Tamiya Black XF1, and then I cut in with Hataka's Light Ghost Grey. Now, I did this like I do most of my kits. I do it in sort of like patchy circles, squares, triangles, just sort of like give it that sort of like ununiform look. So basically what I'm trying to say is I'm using the black as a sort of like a shader. So on the upper parts, you are going to get quite a bit of paint, but on the lower parts I sort of like left it, and it gives you that sort of like shadow effect. Because the kit is actual multimedia, you do have to take off the cast resin off the blocks and clean them up. And what I did was, that was pretty self-explanatory. The actual seats themselves, they are resin, they're not the actual kit ones. And once they're painted, and I started to paint the actual seat cushions, this being olive drab, it really does sort of like make a major difference from the actual kit parts. Not that there's nothing wrong with the kit parts at all, there isn't. But that sort of like just that little bit more of a sort of like sharpness to the size of the seat, it really does make a difference, especially when the kit is finished. The seats were painted again with the light ghost grey, and I brush painted them with olive drab from Vallejo. So once that was done, I could sort of like concentrate on sort of like the main cockpit tub. And here I just did some simple masking and actually painted the instrument panel or the side panels a black from Hataka. So with the smaller parts that I couldn't actually mask, all I did was I carefully went over them with some Vallejo paint, being this one being black, with a simple paintbrush. Just take your time. If you do make a mistake, you can basically overdo it with some water, because the Vallejo paints are acrylic and they are very, very good as well. So then, that's pretty much it for the video. Although I didn't show you an awful lot, the next video will actually go into the cockpit more extensively. So all I want to do is just to say thank you very much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. The channel is growing steadily, and your views and your comments are always welcome. So please, if you haven't subscribed, then please do, and I'll see you on the next video. Cheerio!